Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome along to Fans React, and it is another episode of Fans React Friday. We apologise for the no showing of Macam Monday last Monday. We'll have some further channel updates about that. But anyway, it's all about Fans React Friday this evening. If you are watching, make sure to get involved. You can leave a comment. Anything you want us to talk about, any topics, and just comment them, and we'll try and discuss them. With me tonight, we have, as Sean likes to say, the very, very, very intelligent Dan Humphrey. How are you doing, Dan?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing well.
Good. Yeah, I'm doing fine, thank you. And a very special guest for us this evening. He did an interview with Sean after the Sheffield Wednesday game, which we'll get onto a little bit later. We're joined with Johnny. Johnny, how are you doing? Have you had a good day?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. A lot better than I felt on the Wednesday after the trip down to Sheffield. That was not my best day, but yeah, a lot better today.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't a great day, to be honest, for those 4,000 amazing travelling fans. I saw a tweet today that there's three things that are inevitable in life. It's death, taxes, and Sunderland taking a massive away following, which is very, very true. But anyway, we'll get on that a little bit later. But Johnny, what I wanted to ask you first of all was, for everyone who hasn't seen you before, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, how you started supporting Sunderland and whatnot?
Yeah, well, the blame lies with my dad. So I'm from Durham, and my dad, his dad before him, whole long line of Sunderland fans back there. However far it is. So yeah, it took us to my first game. It was Walsall at home back in the Championship. Back in the day, must have been about 2004, I think. And it's ever since then. I had a season ticket from when we come back up from the Championship up until I left home for uni in 2017. So the year we got relegated under Moyes. So I've seen a lot of the highs, and at the minute we're seeing a lot of the lows. It's been a bit of a journey, but wouldn't change it for the world.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, that's really good to hear. Same thing for me and Dan. Dan's from Berkshire, I'm from Essex, and both of our dads are Sunderland fans, and look what they've done to us. We could be living a much happier life supporting Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, or maybe not a happier life, actually, but, still, we wouldn't change it. Anyway, I'll say hello to some people who are in the live chat. As always, we have Casey, Cameron, Jude. Good evening, everyone. How are you all? Yes, we're all fine, thank you. Christian, hi, Christian. Joanne, hi, guys. Everyone's sending love hearts as they normally do, and yes, and also Ethan Dixon as well. Hello, everyone. Okay, right. So, what I wanted to do was literally dive straight in and talk about what everyone is kind of, a lot of opinions being divided over this about Lee Johnson. Now, a lot of people, obviously, after the last few results, are saying Lee Johnson out. Some people are still saying give him a chance. Johnny, on the interview after the Sheffield Wednesday, you were actually speaking quite passionately about sort of what you thought. Do you want to share your opinions on that?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about it a lot as well over the past couple of days since then. I'm not sort of like I'm not desperate for him to be sacked right now. I don't expect to wake up tomorrow to see, Kirill's pulled the trigger. But what really concerns me with Johnson at the minute, and has done since last season, really, is like the manner of the defeats, the way that we lose games. We've had, 4-0 against Portsmouth. We've had obviously 3-0 at the weekend. We've had on Tuesday. We've had a 5-1. So for me, it's a big concern that we're not. If you lose scrappy games, that's one thing. The Charlton game, right? That's a perfect storm. They've just sacked the manager. A couple of ex-players coming in after some spells out the team, Matthews and Dobson, and everything's sort of set up there for them to come and spoil the party. But, when you're having some comprehensive defeats where the team really does look like they don't actually have a plan, I think questions have to be asked to the manager. Now, I'd love to be proven wrong, and I'd absolutely love to be sitting at the end of the season with us in the top two or win the playoffs going up. But just from what I've seen, I just worry that little bit of grit that you need to get promoted from a league like the Championship or League One just isn't quite there under this manager. We had the run last season of a lot of poor results, and I think those sort of things add up. Even going back to a name that not many of us remember fondly, Steve Bruce in the Premier League. One of the big things that was thrown at him for part of the reason he got sacked was the long runs with, 1 or 2 wins in them. And I think when those sort of things start creeping in, it's very, very difficult to turn it around. And I worry that the manager, I think he's a cracking bloke and I really do want him to do well, but I just worry that he's not got it in him to arrest the slide and get us going in the right direction again, which is obviously what we all want to see.
Yeah, definitely 100%. And I think I don't know if you agree with it as well, but in his sort of post-match interviews, people seem to say that he talk. I know Graham is, he has this opinion. Is he just talks a lot of rubbish. He thinks, like almost after the Sheffield Wednesday game, it felt like it was almost begging fans to just sort of, sort of just stay with us, and we'll be good eventually. Do you think he does talk a little bit too much, and he that's kind of a sort of, I don't know, a downfall?
I think it's one of those where that sort of thing, the way that the manager speaks in the post-match and that, the things that get overanalyzed at times. And when we're on a good run, everyone's going, he knows exactly what he's talking about. He's absolutely spot on as this manager. He talks fantastic. I love him. And then a few results go the other way and it's, he sounds like David Brent off The Office. He's, stuff about position of maximum opportunity and bomb alley and all that nonsense, from the PowerPoint and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It can. I think that can be sort of like window dressing to what is actually the issue, but I don't think it helps when you're on a bad run and you're coming out in post-match interviews and you do sound a little bit, the fans can take it the wrong way. So I think he doesn't help himself in a sense, but I wouldn't be too worried about that.
No, I definitely think, like if we're winning and things are going well, people love it. Aidan O'Brien's running around like a shark, and people absolutely love that. When we're winning, and he talks, like people love it when we're winning. But then when we get beat a few times, I do see what you're saying. People will kind of just say like, "What idiot? Why are they watching like Jaws when they should be training?" And do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. It can be a bit silly. Anyway, right. I'll get it Dan, because I haven't given Dan a chance to sort of get his opinion across here. Dan, we started off the season very, very well with Lee Johnson. However, we've hit that streaky kind of bit of form that we kind of know about. What do you think? What do you think of him? Are your opinions on him starting to turn? Do you reckon he's not the man for the job, or would you give him a chance?
Two different questions there. But I'd give him a chance. Whether he's the man on the job might be a different question. But I think it's a bit ridiculous to say sack him right in this current moment. I do appreciate I agree with Johnny about the Charlton game. That was sort of meant to be a loss. You're going to lose some games, and on that day it just wasn't meant to be for us. Whereas the last two have been a completely different end of the spectrum and really bad performances all round, really. But as for Lee Johnson, I would give him a few more games at least. Come on, let's be fair. We've sacked, 2 managers now. And look how that's ended as well. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, the players have got to take some responsibility as well, I think. But I do think Lee Johnson does need to buck up his ideas in some areas, especially with the defence. He needs to sort them out. I feel like his go-to excuse is just saying, we've got young players. And he sort of seems in his interview every week to say, yeah, but they're young players and they're learning. But it's like, yes, they're young players, but they've still got to be putting in the performance and trying to sort of shore up that defence, which I think they're capable to do. But, I think it's a bit harsh to say sack him, yeah. But I'll tell you what, it's a big game against Ipswich coming up, because they're the other complete they had a shocking start to the season. All of a sudden they're beating Wycombe 4-1, and they've got some players that shouldn't be playing in League One. I tell you what, I don't know if you guys know Selena. He used to play for Man City back in the day. He's on loan from, I think, one of the Ligue 1 teams. I was like, what is he doing in League One? I do not know. Well, I think he scored against Wycombe the other day, so he's one of the ones to watch out for. But yes, I'd give him more time. I'm leaning. I wouldn't say Johnson out yet, no. But he has got a big few games ahead of him, and I think the cup is a great chance to sort of get the winning mentality back, which I think we definitely need. But also on him, I'd like to say, I think the fact that he hasn't changed the team is worrying. And sort of, you would have thought off the Rotherham game, you've got to make changes. For me, I love Luke O'Nien myself. No, I love the bloke. But he's been absolutely shocking in the last 2 to 3 games. And how he's not been dropped and just given a rest, I do not know. And also, I'd say Callum Dorr as well. He's 18 years old, and he started every game, I think, apart from every league game, apart from the Portsmouth game, which he came off the bench at half time. And I think it's ridiculous to expect an 18-year-old lad to play and put in a performance every week for 90 minutes when he should be in the sixth form right now. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous, really. I think they should be managing him better. They should be giving him just a week off. Do you know what I mean? He's literally a kid. I know he's a big lad now, but he's still learning. He's not going to play the perfect game every game. And the more games he does play consecutively, the more mistakes he's likely to make. So that was just another thing. I feel a bit harsh on Doyle because I do think centre back's the one position that we do have a lot of cover for. We've got Alves, we've got Wright, we've even got Ollie Younger in 23s, and hopefully Jamadli's coming back as well. So we've got players that can easily play there in this league, and I think not giving that Doyle that chance to rest has definitely negatively impacted his performance. Some of the decisions he has made have confused me, but I'll give him a few more games. But tell you what, if we lose that Ipswich game, it could really turn for the worse.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for that, Dan. I'll just involve the live chat again. So, Mickey Wiki, SAFC, evening lads, hoping for a result in the cup tomorrow. I think automatic promotion might be gone. Now, I think that there, just like obviously, I know we've lost like a few games and whatnot, but I think the fact of saying, early November that automatic promotion has already gone, like I think that it's just my opinion. I think that is a little bit too. It's like giving up. You hit a bump in the road, but you got to keep going, and you've got to do your best to keep pushing on and not give up, and hopefully we get there. I've been thinking about this sort of quite a lot, obviously, in the lead up to the show, that I felt it for quite a few seasons, is that obviously teams, as we all know, have an extra incentive to come to Sunderland and win, because you don't really get teams like Sunderland in League One. You're too busy playing at sort of your Accrington Stanleys and whatnot. So I think when we're on form and we're playing really well, we can blow a team away any day of the week. However, when we lose that, when we go on that bad run of form, teams will come and they'll bring their game every single game. And I think that's where we've always lacked towards the end of a season. Every season we go on that good run, we get that final sort of hurdle, and then the team goes on a bad run of form. But we don't ever. It's very, very rare we play bad and we still win. We really have to keep fighting to win games. And when we have games like Sheffield Wednesday, when we have games like Rotherham, where you can tell we haven't turned up. If we don't turn up, we will just lose. So sometimes you can get away with it. Sometimes you won't turn up, and maybe sometimes you'll nick a win. There's no chance you'll ever be able to do that in this league, and that's why we're still here. It's just that run of consistency. They raise their teams, and they raise their games. Teams raise their games, and if we can't overcome that, then that's where our problem is. That's what I think. So my dad was also asking, how's the hotel? Yeah, the hotel is very good. If anyone can't notice, this is obviously not my normal.
Really?
Yes. There is no black cat. There is no LED lights. It's not as cool as obviously were.
There's no Paul walking in halfway through either.
Yeah, no, there's not. No, talking, with his like little Lee Burgess rubbish. Speaking of, actually, that do you know what, that brings me on to something. I didn't even write this down. However, I want to talk about the goalkeeper for just a second. Johnny, I'll come to you first. Hoffman's been doing all right since he's been in goal. However, I've noticed maybe in the last few games he's kind of made a lot of sloppy errors. I noticed against Sheffield Wednesday, I don't know if you remember it, where the ball was passed back to him and he was sort of messing around with it, and he kicked it out to a Sheffield Wednesday player in front of him. And I remember Carl Winchester, he got rid of the ball, but he was going mad at Hoffman. And do you think he should keep his place in the starting 11, or maybe bring Lee Burgess?
Well, I don't hate Lee Burge. I think he's an all right keeper, especially for this level. I mean, there's not really that much separating a good keeper and a keeper in a good team and a keeper in a poor team in League One. It's not like the Premier League where you've got Alisson and Edison, and then you've got absolute jobbers for Norwich and that at the bottom. Yeah. Tim Krul, how is he still getting the game?
Isn't Brighton? Jason Still at Brighton.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jason Steele has a contract at a Premier League football team.
And Remy Matthews at Crystal Palace as well. Don't forget.
Yeah, we've seen some, and they've managed to go higher than us. So yeah, I think I wouldn't hate to see Lee Burge back in, but I do think with Hoffman, I think we've seen enough in the when he has played well to suggest there is like a real player in there. And obviously he's only young. I mean, I think he's 22, just turned 22 or something. So he's still, especially for a goalkeeper, that's quite young, because obviously they can play easily until the mid-30s. So I do think he's worth persevering with. And as well, if we want to entice him to stay beyond the loan spell, because obviously we've got the agreement in the loan deal to be able to sign him, but he has to pen the contract, doesn't he? I think it's definitely worth giving him an extended run in the side. But I think you're right. There were a few mistakes come into his game, partly because he's just not that experienced. I think at first team level, he's not had the number of games under his belt that you'd ideally want. If you're putting together your ideal side, you'd think, we'll have plenty of experience in every position. He's not got that, but I think he's got the raw talent to suggest that he is worth sticking with for a while, which I know probably sounds ironic considering I'm talking about not really wanting Johnson to stay, and people could be saying, well, why don't we give him a chance? He's been promoted before and all that. But, I do think with Hoffman, I think I do like him. And I think as well, he did that interview in the German, either a newspaper or a magazine a few weeks ago, talking about how much he just loved being at the club and playing at the stadium alike. And I think it's important to have characters like that around the dressing room, because too many times we've seen players who just don't give a nick about the fact they're playing for a massive club like Sunderland, because we are a massive club even though we're in League One.
Yeah. Oh, definitely 100%. And I think we love it when we see players that come to the club and it means so much to them, to play here. And that's one important thing we want to see in players. And I think we get especially more in this league, because if you're a footballer and you're playing in this league, what other teams are you going to play for the same size as Sunderland, really? So he came from Bayern Munich, and I mean, if playing for Sunderland means a lot to him, then clearly we're quite special. I'd like to imagine. Patrick Ward in the chat, who's just sent £4.49 on the super chat. So he said to enjoy the banter on Fridays. Patrick, we really appreciate that donation there. Of course, we have got the super chat on. If you do want to send a donation to the channel, you can do. It's there if you want to use it. You can still, of course, comment for free and get involved as well. Right, so Dan, I'm going to ask you the question as well. Lee Burge, would you ever want to see him maybe get a chance again in the league, starting 11?
No. That's my answer for sure. I think as a keeper, getting dropped is probably the worst thing to do to him, especially for the young lads. You know what I mean? I think he might not even come back from that if he's dropped in the league games. For me, Lee Burge, every cup game, the whole season, Lee Burge should play. Fair enough, because he's deserved it and he's done well in the League Cup games that he's played. I think he should start tomorrow because obviously it is the cup. And I think Lee Burge is kind of sort of the cup keeper, really, and Hoffman's in the league. But for me in the league, I'd still pick Hoffman. I think Hoffman has done, like, remember that game at Gillingham when he made that save, and he has made saves that have won us points. And I think that is easily forgotten as a goalie. As soon as you make one little mistake. Yes, he made a shocker at Rotherham, but it was the fifth goal, and let's be fair, everyone understood pretty much a stink of that game, and it was the goal didn't really make much difference. And if he does that when we're winning 1-0 or it's 0-0 or whatever, it's probably looked at a bit more. But luckily for him, it was at 4-0, wasn't it? So, or 4-1, so it was sort of less looked at. But yeah, I think you've got to keep him in for the games. He has shown he has got ability. He does, to me though. I do agree. Like he does look a bit sort of. I feel like timid might be the right word. He doesn't look like he's a big shouter and demands like he's not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He seems like
he's not got that presence, has he?
Too nice to be a goalie. Yeah, he's not got that sort of scary presence. If we were trying to score against him, you'd think, I probably fancy him a chance, because he's not sort of like an intimidating sort of figure in the net. I know he's a big lad, but it's hard to explain, really. I don't think Lee Burge has that either, to be honest with you. Found off the streets. So if you look at like sort of goalies in the pot, like sort of like Manuel, obviously Manuel Neuer was playing with Manuel Neuer at Bayern, but he's sort of a scary looking bloke. You're thinking, I don't fancy. I know it's completely different sort of levels, but sort of that presence is a big thing, I think, as a goalie. But yeah, for me, keep Hoffman in the league, Burge in the cup, happy days, and Patterson next season. They'll be back after a long loan spell. I think, is Patterson's loan till January? If not, I think they should make it the whole season, and he should just be playing every game in the National League. I don't really, obviously, that to do it at that level, because by the time that he went out on loan, the window is shut for the League 1 and 2 clubs, because otherwise I think he would have probably gone to League 2, sort of like Diamond and Hawks did. Because if they can play in League 2, I think Patterson can play in League 2. That's what I'll say anyway.
Yeah, I think it is till January, isn't it? Because it was an emergency loan at first, and then they extended it to January. Is what you're allowed to do, I think, or one of them, unless I'm talking
I think that was right. So they might extend it again, maybe if he's playing a lot of games. But I hope they do.
Yeah, definitely.
Can I just say quickly on the goalkeeper front, actually?
Go on.
The 23s game on Monday, Jacob Carney looks a pretty handy keeper.
He's that lad we brought in from Man United, isn't it?
Yeah, he was very tidy. His handling was. He made a wonderful save as well in the second half. Sort of tipped over full length over the bar. So the goalkeepers in our sort of our academy look bright as well, because I like the look of him. And he wasn't the biggest keeper actually. He was quite small for a keeper, but he was very vocal and sort of he came out for crosses very well, and he obviously kept a clean sheet. So I thought I'd just mention him because he looked like he had some decent potential and very good handling to me.
Yeah, I remember watching him in the Man United under-21s game, and I think he performed quite well in that game, to be honest with you. So hopefully he finds a way into something there maybe next season as well. Patrick Ward just commented, is Vito Manone still available? Now, I believe when we were linked with him in the summer, actually, there was initially some excitement there. But then I think what I've heard is, I think when Sunderland spoke to Vito Manone's agent, it became very clear very, very quickly that Sunderland were not going to be able to afford his wages. And it just, I don't think that's a move that would actually happen, to be honest with you. In my opinion, I wouldn't want to see Vito Manone come back, not because I don't like him. I think he was really good for us, and we'll keep that. We'll keep that as a good memory of Vito Manone. I don't think we need to bring him back now. We can bring in some better and younger and upcoming players. All right then. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm afraid, Johnny, I'm going to have to put you on the spot a little bit here, because during your interview at Sheffield Wednesday, it was cut short because the stewards were trying to move Sean. However, someone came in and intruded your interview, kind of disagreeing with what you were saying. However, it was a really good debate that was going on, and it's a shame that it didn't last longer. However, on FansReact Friday this evening, we're going to try and carry that on and sort of find a bit of closure to that. So what I'm going to do is, now I've got the clip. We're all going to watch the clip, and then basically Johnny is going to give his response to what this guy is saying. So yeah, enjoy the clip.
Unfortunately, I am. No. I am, mate. Unfortunately, I am, mate.
Don't you fucking dare. Cause I hate the Lee Johnson. Listen, you seem like a really nice lad. I'm not getting at you. Oh
no, 100%, mate. 100%.
The Lee Johnson Art Brigade. The Lee Johnson Art Brigade need to fuck off. Don't get me wrong. The last 2 or 3 appearances, fair enough.
That's not acceptable.
No. Nah, fair enough. But at the same time, the top teams in the league have had experiences to turn their managers away. Mm-hmm. Even Man U have had the chances to turn their managers away. Don't get me wrong.
We've had some chance.
No. Fair enough.
Tonight's our big chance. We got to look at that and we got to think, right. If we want to approve, we've got to look at the manager tonight and we got to think, right. We got to make a change. Tonight's a chance.
Do not get me wrong. Fair enough, but that right there is more than just the manager. No, do not get me wrong. That right there is more than just the manager. But at the same time, we have to. He's the first manager to come in and win a trophy. It might be no. It might be the Papa John's, but he still won a trophy. You have to. No. You have to give him the chance.
How long will you give him?
I'd give him the next 3 or 4 months. I would, because listen. We've had bad. Listen. we've had bad games. The three or four past games.
Right, lads, thanks for your time, lads, because I've got to move on.
Right, so there you go. Sean was kind of moved on there, but Johnny, you were trying to sort of butt in with what he was saying. So I want to hear, what would your response be to him?
I can understand the point of view, obviously, of people who want Johnson to stay. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to give him a bit more time. The problem is, you know, the line of logic that he's using there to try and justify it, I think, doesn't really hold any water for me. Like, I mean, talking about Man United keeping Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a reason we should keep Lee Johnson. I mean, you know, first of all, what's that got to do with us? You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, well, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who's playing Cristiano Ronaldo up front for him, he's still in a job, which is going to magically mean our defence stops shipping goals every time we go away. You know, I don't think that's a really good point. And also, I mean, a lot of Man United fans want Ole out. You know, a lot of them wanted Conte in, which I personally think would have been a good move for Man United as well. So I don't see that comparison, you know, as something to be particularly proud of. And the point about the Papa Johns, I understand, you know, a manager who's got a winning mentality, a lot of people will call it, which I know he's only won the one little trophy with us. But if you know, it shows that he's, you know, I was going to say that he's willing to win, but obviously everyone's willing to win, but it shows that he's got that, you know, he's got some experience of it. He knows his way around knockout games, which is good, A, if you get the playoffs, and B, shows that you know how to handle yourself in them sort of pressure one-off games, which you sometimes need towards the end of the season, where, say, you've got a game against the team who's one place above or below you, you know, a massive 6-pointer, almost feels like a cup final, doesn't it? So if you can handle the pressure in an actual cup final, then, you know, fair enough, that can be a good thing. But Papa John's, I mean, half it's against under-23 teams from the Premier League, which, you know, it's not quite the same as a competitive game against a lot of hard lads in League One, which we're finding out the hard way this season, because I think a lot of the time we're getting bullied out of games. Especially Portsmouth, I think, was a big example of that, because they totally adapted to the conditions and just having to brute force their way through that game, and we couldn't. I understand that having the ability to win and win in pressure games is definitely a big plus for a manager or a player or anybody. I get it, but I just don't think it's the same. It's not as transferable to league football as it might be if, you know, say a manager wins an FA Cup. You know, a lot of people backed Mikel Arteta at Arsenal staying, partly because, he's won a big trophy, which, you know, they now seem to have turned it around a bit. So I can see it to a degree, but I just don't think you can use a little knockout trophy like the Papa John's to be justifying keeping a manager for a 46-game season where you've got to win. You know, you're looking at trying to win neck end of 30-odd games, trying to lose a single figures number of games, which we're not on track to do as it stands. So, yeah, I don't agree with him.
Yeah, no. To be honest, no, that's great. Thanks for that response there. And yeah, I think we all, you know, more people than probably him agree with you there. To be honest, and we, I agree as well. You know, winning the Papa John's Trophy isn't something to you know, as a justifiable reason to stay, especially as he only won sort of the last few games in the rounds. And what I think of Lee Johnson, to be honest with you, is that I've seen more in him than I like more. How do I say it? Like, I don't know, more potential in him with Sunderland than I've seen with Jack Ross and Phil Parkinson. You know,
Phil Parkinson.
Let's be fair.
We didn't see anything apart from.
I'd be a better manager than Phil Parkinson.
A midlife crisis than Phil Parkinson. Like, you know, like there's. You know, but listen, I've seen a lot of Lee Johnson. I think he wants to build something. He desperately wants to get it right, and you know, he's there like in his post match interview, sort of begging, just saying like, you know, he's got this fantasy probably going on in his mind. He's going to be manager of Sunderland. Sunderland's going to be in the Champions League. You know, Dennis Serkin's going to be sort of our left back, and you know, he's probably got all this thing going on in his mind. of how and it's good that he sees a potential with Sunderland. He's not just here to maybe do one thing for one season and then go off, and he wants to stay. And I think for me, that's why I would give him a bit more of a chance. If we had Parkinson at the moment and we were going on this run, I wouldn't see any potential in Parkinson or Simon Grayson, for example. I wouldn't see any potential in them. And for me, I'd want them to go. But it's just what I think I'd see more in Johnson to take us forward than Grayson and Parkinson.
Yeah, I think what I would like to say is I fully agree that you can tell he's got some sort of vision, some sort of ethos going on behind the scenes, which I definitely buy into it. Like, I've got major reservations over him as a manager, but not because of that. His plan A, I think, is great. Some of the football we play under him is cracking. I like the blueprint of the signings we're bringing in, and he'll obviously be involved in that to some degree. Obviously, it'll be Speakman and the rest of the recruitment team behind the scenes, who I think have done a cracking job, by the way. And like you say, you can tell that, sort of he's invested in it for the long haul, is Johnson. And like I say, I think he's a cracking bloke. He seems lovely. Paddy Kenny might disagree, mind, if you've seen the story that he tells about him in his book. But I don't know, like, if it was in terms of which manager do you want to succeed at Sunderland, I definitely want him to succeed the most out of any manager we've had since Sam Allardyce, really. So it's definitely not for lack of, intelligence, football intelligence, and that. I just think, my concerns lie elsewhere with him. I fully agree with 99% of what you said there. Like,
no, absolutely. We'll move on from Lee Johnson. But no, that was really good. That was all said. So, on a sort of on a happier note, happier for Dan Neil today, who was called up for England's under-20s. Dan, you've always been a massive fan of Dan Neil. All last season, you were whispering, Dan Neil.
I was
talking about who should we start in midfield. Do you think this is a really deserved call up for him?
Yeah, fantastic. I think it's brilliant, fully deserved. I think the last time he played for England, he was under 15. So obviously, what's that, 5 years ago? Which is obviously he had that really horrible injury. I think he was out for over a year with that. To come back and do what he's doing, I think is really impressive. I think he's been one of the few bright sparks in the last few games, really. I don't think anyone's had a great game in the last sort of few games, but you can still tell that he's got the quality that I think other midfielders don't have. If you look at him, compare him to Luke O'Nien, I mean, you can praise O'Nien and his sort of willingness to sort of work hard on that for the team, but you can clearly tell who's the better footballer and who will be the better footballer and play at a high level in their careers. Let's be fair, Dan Neil's 19 years old. I've mentioned this point before, but you look at players like Josh Hawkes and Jack Diamond going on loan at 22 and 21 or something. And it's like they're already 2-3 years older than Dan Neil. And Dan Neil's already doing it in this league for me. And I think he's the one boy, if we can get up, he could be sort of that not one club man, but he could be playing for us for hopefully a few seasons if we keep progressing. And because I think he's going to keep progressing as well. And I generally do think he's sort of player the sky's the limit for him, you know what I mean? Because he's got that technical ability. Obviously, he needs a bit more sort of physicality, I'd say, maybe. He's not the biggest lad, but again, that will come with age and experience. As we said, I'm pretty sure he only made his league debut this season, wasn't it? I mean, in the Wigan game. I'm pretty sure that was his league debut, so it's his first,
Yeah.
How many games we played? 15 games, is it? It's his first 15 games.
Yeah, something like
in
that.
League, in literally men's league football, so you've got to give your hats off to that. Definitely fully deserved the under-20s. It's good that he's got Cirque in there as well, and obviously Dawes in the under-19s. There's so many bloody squads, I can't keep track of all the players. Honestly, it's ridiculous, and they go out to bloody Spain and play about one friendly over 9 days, and then come back home. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but fully deserved for Daniel. What a player, and hopefully he can be the future of our club and I reckon a potential captain in my eyes.
Yeah, 100%. Johnny, do you agree with what Dan said there?
Yeah, I can't disagree with a word of that. Like, I think he's a fantastic player. Technically brilliant, good on the ball. He's got positive intent every time he gets on the ball. What I like about him as well, in particular, in terms of his style of play, is I like that he likes to get on the ball deeper and drive forward with it. Because too many times, young, talented attacking players come through and they want the ball in the final third, on the edge of the box. They want to be basically given the ball in a position to shoot already. Whereas I like that Neil can actually help us in that transition from defence to attack, where I think we've got a number of decent centre midfield players this season. Obviously, O'Nien is on a stinking run, but I do really rate him in general. I think Winchester, obviously, having to cover right back, but I think he's a good midfielder. Evans is a decent player. But I think a lot of those players are very, very similar in the way they play. O'Nien in particular is quite he's a workhorse, and I think he's decent on the ball, but he's never going to be threading, 60-yard through balls or whatever. Whereas Neil gives us that something a little bit different in the middle that you do need to, sometimes if you play in a team who just sits 8 men behind the ball, you need that player who can just make something happen early on when you've got the ball, rather than having to wait 5 minutes, pass it 60 times backwards and forwards and side to side and go back to the keeper, like we've seen us do plenty of times, I'm sure. And I think as well, it's easy to forget that he wasn't even really supposed to be starting the season in the team at all. He only played because he played left back because we had so many injuries and Serkin hadn't signed for us yet. So we could very easily be sitting here right now in an alternate universe where Serkin signed a few weeks earlier, or we didn't have an injury to Denver Hume. We could be sat here saying, who's Dan Neil like? Oh, this kid Neil who's just stagnating in the academy. Why is he not gone on loan? So I think it's a big plus as well for the willingness of the manager, who I know I said that I have big reservations about him. I think it's a big plus for the strategy of the club moving forward, that we're willing to give the young players a chance in times like that, rather than, in days gone by where we'd be shoving, I don't know, how many times have we seen square pegs in round holes, too many to mention. And it reminded us of when Ballymumba got in the team in the first day of the season. I think was it the Charlton game, I think, the first season in League One. Yeah, and he was,
16 years old that day, wasn't
he? He should have been taking his GCSEs, never mind his A-levels. And he played quite well, and I definitely thought, I think a lot of other people did, like that's going to be the start of him getting a run in the team and developing and becoming a player that we can rely on in the future. But unfortunately, that never happened. Whereas Dan Neil, I think, is the positive version of that scenario. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Dan Neil. I'm in the Dan Neil camp, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, he's got a few goals this season as well. And the quality of the goals have been brilliant. Like against Accrington, to switch it from his left foot onto his weaker left foot, and just it was a brilliant goal. And also Lincoln away as well. I don't know if you saw, but the club put on a video today of the October goal of the month compilation or whatever. I think
is there enough?
Oh well, that was what I thought. They had one for the women. It was literally a header from a corner, and I thought, well, they've scored a few. That's their best goal this month. So it's probably for me got to be Dan Neil's goal against Lincoln. I mean, that was an incredible strike. That was in the Papillons Trophy. So he's been brilliant. And also a quick mention as well. He's been how he brings the ball forward. He's done it a few times. I remember he did it at Wickham at home for Ross Stewart's goal to make it 3-0. He did it against Rotherham. Yes, despite the result, he's got that intent to just get the ball and take it forward. And the amount of goals that have come from that is really good as well. So, yes, and that's brilliant news for Dan Neil. Maybe not amazing news in the sense of how many international breaks that we'll have to take now. But anyway, it happens, I guess.
It also potentially gets more jealous eyes on him from other clubs who are sniffing around for talented young English footballers, because obviously there's a bit of an English tax, isn't there, on English players for filling homegrown quotas, etc. So if anyone else from any other clubs are watching, Dan Neil's terrible. He's rubbish. He can barely, he kind of pass water. He's awful. Yeah, who is he, mate? Dan Hoot, nah, you don't want him. Keep away.
Yeah, well, exactly. So hopefully
Jack Diamond's. Oh, Jack Diamond.
Jack Diamond's brilliant. If you want Jack Diamond,
probably worth about 60 mil, I reckon. Easy.
Yeah.
What a player!
It'd be nice as well to see a player come from Sunderland and play for England, because like it's never really happened, is it? You know, a person who currently, you know, plays for Sunderland at the time and then plays for England. We had it with a little bit of Jermaine Defoe, but he wasn't a full-time player. Darren Bent, sort of hardly maybe really got in that England team when he was doing really well in that Premier League season.
Pickford at the very back end of his time with us, I think, did he get called up the first time with us, or was it just after he left?
Do you know what? Honestly, I really can't remember now, but I know he kind of got in. He kind of got in the squad.
He was definitely knocking on the door.
Yeah, he was definitely knocking the door. Yeah, and obviously as well, we saw it with like Kevin Phillips, who barely even got a game when he won the European Golden Boot, which is disgraceful. But we want to see a player from Sunderland who plays for Sunderland in the England team. Obviously, we need to get back to the Premier League for that, but hopefully Dan Neil is going to be that player. Anyway, there was a few other things I had written down to talk about. However, we are kind of at 2022 now, so it's we'll do the quiz as we normally do on a Friday. So what we'll do is we'll get this on the screen now. It's on Kahoot. So say the same thing we do every week. Johnny, do you know how we're getting this quiz?
I know I'm on the Kahoot website, so I need the pin, which is on the screen. Oh, cracking!
On the screen, there you go. So yeah, everyone search up Kahoot, dot it, then put in that game pin, and we'll. There you go, Johnny. There you go. He's the first one in. We'll see if anyone can come up with any interesting names this evening, as they normally do. So right, get everyone get yourselves in. We've only got Bonnie Knight. There we go. Who's Dan Neil? Firework hater. Obviously tonight is bonfire night, so there'll be a few fireworks going off.
Verge
one. Johnson in.
Oh, Johnson in. He's trying to start fights with me, this lad.
Yeah. Left my Azov. So I wrote this quiz on the train on the way up to the northeast. So I will admit there was a lot going on the train at the time, a lot going on around me. So if there's a few little spelling mistakes, listen. Please don't give me a hard time about it. I've done my best, and yes, hopefully everyone enjoys this one. We've got George McCartney in the quiz as well, I think. So yeah, hello George McCartney. What a Sunderland legend he is. Acacia is in. Isaac Humphrey, Dan's brother. He's in. Benny's in as well. Right, okay then. So Anita Dump, there we go. She's in, Anita. What we'll do is we'll start this quiz then. We'll get started. So the first 10 questions are pretty much Sunderland questions, and then the second 10 are just general knowledge questions. So yeah. I'm not too sure about that name. Imagine if they were. Yeah.
I'm back in year 8 again.
You got some fans here, Johnny. You should come on every week.
Oh, with pleasure.
All right then. So, question number 1: in last season's FA Cup round 1, which Sunderland player headed the ball out of the goal he was trying to score in? Was it Will Grigg, Callum McFadzean, Danny Graham, or Jack Diamond?
Tell you what a selection of players there.
Yeah, those are some of the best Sunderland players who've ever pulled on the shirt.
We're talking about England call-ups. There's a list right there. Gareth, mate, get yourself on that phone.
Absolutely. So the ball was going in the goal. The Sunderland player came in and just headed the ball straight out. Who was that? It was, of course, Danny Graham. It was Danny Graham. It was one of the most dreadful things I've ever seen in my entire life.
I think I just scrubbed his second spell and his first spell out of me brain, to be honest. I tried my hardest never to think about it.
Yeah, well, we can't blame you for that. Who's Dan Neil is top. Excellent. I'm guessing that's Dan. Question number 2. Which player made his full Sunderland debut against Mansfield Town in last season's FA Cup first round? Because, of course, last season's round 1 was against Mansfield as well at the Stadium of Light, and it will be that tomorrow as well. So who made his full Sunderland debut? Was it Callum McFadzean, Jack Diamond, Dion Sanderson, or Jordan Jones? And to be honest with you, after this game, everyone kind of thought, actually, yeah, he's not too bad. He is.
Probably not McFadzean then.
Yeah, Callum McFadzean. However, we might have been wrong.
Thought he's not too bad. Are we talking about the same McFadzean here?
That was after one game. That was after that game.
All right. Okay. I'll let you off then.
But to be fair, Johnny, we were so bad that day that we actually made them look really good. To me, we're not really good, but probably one of the better players. There we go. I'm catching quite a lot of people out of these questions. You know, Bonnie Knight goes top.
You've done me there. I thought you meant Jack Diamond.
Yeah. I thought you meant Dion Sanderson.
No, it wasn't. Dion Sanderson made his debut about a week before that, I think, against Rochdale.
I was going to say, I knew it was about that time because he wasn't in the team at first.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we clicked, didn't we? Had that run, and you're thinking, this guy's worth about 20 million.
Yeah. Definitely, but no, it was kind of a fans in that game. But this question, what was the final score in last season's FA Cup round 1?
You know the McFadzean question, was that the first game he started?
That was just his first ever Sunderland game.
No, but I thought his first game was Fleetwood.
No, that was slightly later on. Yeah,
Fleetwood was New Year's.
Yeah, because
Papa John's game.
It was the Papa John's game. It was afterwards because I remember Callum McFadzean. We actually signed him. He was a free agent at the time, so we brought him in long after the transfer window had closed, and I think that was the first game he actually played. So there we go. So it was 1-0 at Mansfield. Less said about that.
That game was 3 days before.
Right. So, true or false, that is the only victory Mansfield Town have ever had against Sunderland. So, Mansfield Town's history, that 1-0 win there, is the only win they've ever had against Sunderland. Is that true or is that false?
Mate, the amount of fireworks, Jesus.
This quiz is definitely making me feel thick. I usually think I'm quite in the know with the lads, but
it does get you thinking. But it is true. That is the only time Mansfield Town have ever beaten Sunderland. And hopefully it'll be the last. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Who's done nil is still top. Right. Okay. All right. Then question number 5. In what year was the first meeting between Sunderland and Mansfield Town? Was this 1987? 1978, 1977, or 2003. Now, this is really testing your Sunderland knowledge. Here, what year was the first meet between Sunderland and Mansfield Town?
Oh, I felt I clicked the wrong one.
A very quick mention as well. The channel is very close to hitting 2,000 subscribers. So if you're watching and you haven't already, please subscribe. We're about 100 or so away. So, very much appreciated if you can do that. 1977 was the first time the two sides met. That one there, like I wasn't expecting anyone to know that. That was just.
Which colour do you prefer? I was lucky.
Yeah, I was kind of struggling with the questions a little bit. Not much was coming to mind. We've done so many of these quizzes every week that there aren't that many possible questions left. Right, okay. So who's done nil stays top? What is the furthest round Sunderland have reached in the FA Cup in the last 20 years? So in the last 20 years, what's the furthest Sunderland have reached? Is it the quarterfinal, semi-final, final, or round of 16? Me and Dan aren't even that old, so we wouldn't even.
No, I know. I think it was the year that I was born.
It was against was it Millwall?
Millwall, that's right. Yeah. Against Millwall in 2000.
Tim Cahill.
Yeah. Tim Cahill. He had quite a good streak of scoring against Sunderland. Tim Cahill.
Yeah, he did.
Obviously, did it for Everton a few seasons later. But it was a semi-final. I thought I'd catch a few people out there with quarter-final because of the Everton game back in 2012.
Was it the quarter-final when Poyet played like basically a youth team against Hull as well? Back the same
might
season
have
we got
been.
the final of the League Cup, I think it was, wasn't it?
You know what? Yeah, I think you're right there as well. Yeah, we lost 3-0, didn't we? I remember Ustari played in goal that day, didn't he?
I'm sure he saved a penalty as well, you know.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Game,
He saved the penalty, and everyone was celebrating like we won. Like we literally won the FA Cup. And then we went on to lose 3. And I think David Myler scored as well for Hull City that day.
Well, the ex-player curse, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. So what stadium was that game played in the 2004 FA Cup semi-final? Millennium Stadium, Wembley, Stadium of Light, or Old Trafford. It was Old Trafford. I do believe that the final was played at the Millennium Stadium, because I think that was kind of the time Wembley was being rebuilt.
Yeah,
I think
it was.
The semi-final was played at Old Trafford. Very disappointing game that was as well.
My dad goes on about that game all the time. Talks about Tim Cahill ruining our hopes and dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. My dad's told me plenty of times as well. It's not a very nice memory, especially being beat off Millwall. I mean, if you're going to be beat off any teams, make it not be Millwall. But anyway, right. Question number 8. What Sunderland player scored an own goal against Everton in the FA Cup quarter-final replay back in 2012? So was it Jack Colback, David Vaughan, Craig Gardner, or Phil Bardsley?
For a lot of Sunderland fans, this quiz is very masochistic. This, like, a lot of reflection on some of our worst moments in FA Cups.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, it's not reliving probably some of the best memories as the other Sunderland fans. But if anyone remembers that David Vaughan own goal, I think the fact that he scored that incredible goal, in that 3-0 victory against the Mags, people don't even have this in their brain. Like, obviously we remember it, but we don't really ever think about it. We think about more of his. David Vaughan was a bit of a weird player as well, because he seemed to not really play that much, but when he came on, he always used to score like a thunderbolt of a goal.
Oh yeah. He scored that absolute screamer against Blackburn in O'Neill's first game when Larson scored the 90-odd minute free kick winner as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he scored against Wigan away as well. We won like 4-1 or 4-2.
That was the game where Craig Gardner scored that ridiculous free kick as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. To be fair, with David Vaughan's goal, it was sort of the same sort of goal. It was coming out and he just smashed it and it like flew into the top corner. Unbelievable. Yeah. Some left foot he had on him, David Vaughan.
Left foot like a traction engine.
Yeah, he was clearly using his right foot to score that own goal. So maybe stick with his left foot. Bonnie Knight goes top. Right, and question number 9. Who was the last Sunderland player to score in the FA Cup? This can be quite a difficult question, this one. So was it Lyndon Gooch, George Honeyman, Aidan McGeady, or Max Power?
I was at this game, I think.
Well, it was a home game, so.
A home game?
Yeah. Because we had to play them in a replay. So it was Aidan McGeady against Gillingham, and we went up 1-0. So he put us 1-0 up against Gillingham, and then Gillingham took a free kick, and John McLaughlin caught it, and he dropped it, and it went through his legs and went in. So we drew that game. We drew that game 1-1. Now, to be honest with you, that's more something Jason Steele or Robin Reuter or Lee Camp would do. Not so much John McLaughlin. That was probably one of very few mistakes that he ever made in a Sunderland shirt. But then we went all the way down to Gillingham for a first round FA Cup replay, and we lost the game 1-0 in extra time. That was how bad it got. And obviously we didn't score last season in the FA Cup at all. So
I forgot about the first Gillingham game, because I was going off the replay. No, the first Walsall game, because I think McGeady scored in that game as well. So that's why.
Yes, yeah, he did. Yeah. So we played obviously Walsall away in the FA Cup. So he put us 1-0 up, and then Walsall equalised, and then they beat us.
Scored.
Yeah, they beat us 1-0 back at the Stadium of Light. But anyway, God, we're not really reliving many good memories here, are we? Quite a negative quiz. For such a
about setting those goals against Borough.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll try and get away from the depressing questions. Right, question number 10. Let's see if this one's a bit better. Which one of these Sunderland players did not play in the 1973 FA Cup final? Also, as well, I put double points on this question. For people with quite good Sunderland knowledge, it should be quite an easy question. So, Billy Hughes, Raish Carter, Mickey Horsford, or Dave Watson. Remember, you're selecting the player that did not play in the 1973 FA Cup final. Now, are we all confident with this one?
Yeah, but now I'm second guessing myself because
I'm second guessing myself as well. I don't know.
as soon as I start thinking it's easy, I don't like it.
Yeah, Raish Carter.
It was 37, wasn't he? The 37.
Yeah, he was Sunderland's captain in the 1937 FA Cup final. But of course, Billy Hughes, Mickey Horsford, and Dave Watson were in the 73 team. But Raish Carter, he probably would have retired by then, to be honest.
Definitely retired, wouldn't he? That's a 30 years later.
Definitely retired, yes, of course. So there we go. Most people getting that right, though. So those are the first 10 Sunderland questions out the way. Now, the second 10, the leaderboard could change dramatically because these literally, they're just going to be general knowledge questions. So I wish you all the best of luck with these. Listen, if they're stupid questions, don't blame me. Blame whatever website I got them from. Right. Okay, right. Question number 11. Which platform does the newly branded company Meta not own? So Meta are the company that have taken over like what Facebook owns. So Facebook owned all these platforms, but now they've changed that to Meta. So Meta owns Facebook and then other brands as well. Meta. All right, Meta.
I'm new, so I didn't want to correct him, but yeah.
Meta. Sorry, I do apologise. Meta, not Meta. That's spelled slightly differently. So which one is not owned? It's TikTok. Obviously, Instagram is owned by them. WhatsApp and Messenger, so the Facebook Messenger there. So TikTok is the only thing that is not owned by them. Who's Dan Neil was on a streak? Wow, what's new? Question number 12. Which side of the road do you drive on in Australia? Do you drive on the left-hand side or the right-hand side? I wonder if I changed Australia to Britain, how many people would get it right? Hopefully everyone would. Okay, so is it left or is it right? Yes, everyone was very split on that, but you do drive on the left-hand side in Australia, which, some people can be quite surprised by. Obviously, in America, you drive on the right. Britain, you do drive on the left. Dan, have you got that down? Because I remember you telling me in your first sort of driving lessons you were finding it difficult. Did you always manage to stick to the left?
Yeah, I've got no problems with that.
Good. Really good.
Right.
Really good to hear. But yes, no, it is the left. If you don't know that, then you learned something new today. All right then. So who's Dan Neil stays top? Question number 13. How many inverted loops does the Alton Towers roller coaster, the Smiler, have? Is it 10, 14, 8, or 19? Dan Humphrey there is a massive fan of roller coasters, aren't you, Dan?
I've never been.
I was chatting to my flatmate the other day about what?
Go on, Johnny. No, you go.
I was chatting to my flatmate the other day about going to Alton Towers because I've never been, and he was like, "Oh yeah, they got the Smiler and it's got the most loops," but he didn't tell us how many.
14. Yeah, I think it's the most in the UK. I want to say it's a ridiculous amount of loops. Are you a fan of roller coasters, Johnny?
I don't mind a good roller coaster. I've not been on loads, but I do like a good one. Like I say, we were planning a trip to Alton Towers, so bit of a timely discussion there for us, but not quite the trivia that I needed. Yeah,
well, absolutely. But there you go. Now you know. If you ever go on the Smiler, you know how many loops it's got. I'm not a fan of the loops myself, just because I think when you have the sort of the harness thing or whatever, your head always smacks against the sides of it. I don't really like that. But I don't mind sort of other roller coasters. Okay then, question number 14. Which stadium is closer to Sheffield city centre? Is it Bramall Lane or Hillsborough? So obviously it was in Sheffield, as many of us were a few days ago. And this was one sort of quiz question I thought of when I was there. Which stadium is closer to Sheffield city centre? Is it Bramall Lane or Hillsborough? Is Sheffield United closer or Sheffield Wednesday closer? The city centre is Bramall Lane. Bramall Lane is considerably closer. I think it's about maybe half a mile away, when I think Hillsborough's about 2.5 miles away.
We had to take a good Uber ride from the station to the, even just to the pub to drink at near Hillsborough.
Yeah.
Never mind getting to the ground.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's not most convenient stadium, I have to say, but no. So yeah, the answer is Bramall Lane. Okay, question number 15. Yes, 15. What is the most amount of money a contestant can win on the TV game show Tipping Point? So the maximum amount of money. So you're a contestant. You go on Tipping Point. What's the most amount of money you can win on Tipping Point? Obviously, it's different for different game shows, but there is a limit on what you can. What is their top prize? If you knock off that star counter or whatever, how much money do you win? Is it 30,000, 20,000, 10,000, or 5,000?
On a side note, by the way, referring to that last question about the two grounds in Sheffield, winds me up something rotten when people call Sheffield United just Sheffield. I hate it. I can't stand it.
I know. I absolutely. I think. I don't understand when you share. There's two teams in the city. I just don't know how that works. Like, you have to share a city. At least with Sunderland and Newcastle, like, you have your own cities in your own places. It's
like imagine living with the Mags all the time.
Honestly,
couldn't be doing that.
I like going to. I don't know. Like, it's like where I live. There's just different fans from different places, like everywhere. You're mixing all the time, but I just don't know how that works. But I guess maybe football to them doesn't mean as much as it does up here. But yes. Yes, the answer is 10,000. By the way, so if you knock off that jackpot counter, that's what it's called. You win £10,000. Did everyone here get that one correct?
I didn't actually. I should have got it right.
There we go. All right then. Question number 16. Which one of these airports is the closest to London? So a little bit similar with the Sheffield.
What defines London?
Centre of London. So the Bank of England, that is the centre of London. Which one of these airports is the closest? Is it London Luton, London Stansted, London Heathrow, or London Gatwick? None of those airports are actually in London, but they've always just put London at the front of them. But which one is the closest? It is Heathrow. Heathrow is the closest. Dan, you should have got that one correct, didn't you?
Yes, I was there the other day.
Yes, he was.
Home advantage, not fair that, like.
Stansted is considerably quite far out of London. Same thing with Luton, and Gatwick is south of London. But it's probably it's closer than Luton and Stansted is. But yeah, Heathrow is the closest. Heathrow out of them is the only airport actually in the M25 loop. So there you go. All right then. I feel like this is a bit of a geography and a history lesson today. All right. Anyway, so Los Santos is a fictional city from what game? Is it Forza Horizon 5, Red Dead Redemption, Mario Kart, or Grand Theft Auto 5? GTA 5. I've been recently getting into GTA quite a lot recently because I sort of stopped playing Xbox for quite a while. But last few days I've been getting back into it quite a lot, so I've been playing that.
I've got a mate who's also called Johnny, who works for Rockstar now. He's just got a job there out of graduating from his masters. We just pester him all the time. Please tell us about the new GTA game. Please, we want to know. Tell us. And he's like, I can't. I'll get sacked. I can't tell you to leave.
So he actually knows, does he?
Oh, he'll actually know, but he won't even tell us that he knows. He's not secretive about it.
He won't even tell you what city it's going to be based in.
No, he won't tell us. He won't even tell us if he knows anything about GTA 6. Never mind what the actual information is.
Honestly, well, at least he's a trustworthy person. I guess that's one thing you can take from it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right then. Well,
you're getting some comments in the chat about the tipping point question.
There's some controversy here.
I did not get that wrong. You can win £10,000 on tipping point. If you get, it's 20,000 if you get right. Well, listen, I was watching it on ITV a few days ago. Listen, it's 10,000. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm the quiz master. It's 10,000.
If it wasn't 10,000 before, it is now.
What I say goes. Yeah. Next, Ben Shepherd. They're winning. They're not winning any more than 10,000. Right. Okay. Which real city is Los Santos based off? So is it based off Los Angeles, Las Vegas, London, or New York City? Oh.
Michael Graham's not happy with you, mind Matthew. He's got a bone to pick.
Oh well, I'm sorry. I do apologise, Michael, but maybe I got that one wrong. I'm sorry, but
I did put 20 grand. Can I just say?
Well, I apologise. Look, in life we can't all be perfect. They can't all be perfect. So listen, just don't blame me. Right, yeah, it is based off Los Angeles. So yes. There we go. Most people get that one correct. What is this next question going to be? I'm kind of dreading this now. I can't even remember what any of these questions are. Next question. Sam Bailey won which singing competition in 2013? Did she win? But it's a she, Sam Bailey. Did she win X Factor, The Voice, Pop Idol, Britain's Got Talent? Sam Bailey was an excellent singer. However, some people have won these certain. There you go. Most people get that straight away. X Factor.
What was her single, Matthew? Can you remember the name of the single?
Skyscraper.
Correct.
Yeah, there you go. Like a skyscraper. That was a great song.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That'll get people tuning back in. A bit of that singing performance. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I've kind of redeemed myself there with the 25. No. So she won X Factor. She was a very good singer actually, but she never really managed to kind of get anywhere like other singers did. I don't know. Sort of James Arthur won it the year before, and he is who he is now. And Sam Bailey was never really kind of known about. But
I think she went more down like this West End route. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, at least she's she was kind of like not a young up and coming person, but she was kind of like. Like in her mid to late 30s, she was a mum of a few kids, and that.
I'm pretty sure she was a policewoman.
She was a prison officer. I think. Yeah, there we go. I can't believe Bailey. It's unbelievable, Dan. Right, okay. Last question. Please make this the last. Last question. Double points. What is the maximum speed a train is allowed to do in the UK?
Graham, where are you?
There is a speed limit. There is a speed limit on trains in the UK. How fast? What is the max speed they're allowed to go? Is it 100 miles an hour, 125 miles an hour, 140 miles an hour, or 90 miles an hour?
Well, as long as they turn up on time, not really bothered. Yes. But it's quite a rare occurrence, that like.
Well, it depends what kind of train company it is, but LNER trains.
LNER are very, very good, always on time.
Yeah, they're always on time. They are. Correct answer is 125 miles an hour. That is sort of the national speed limit, really, with the trains. They can be capable of going up to 140 miles an hour. However, in the UK at the moment, 125 miles an hour is the limit. However, that will change with HS2, High Speed Rail 2, opening, which is going to connect London with Birmingham, and I think there's also plans to connect it with the northeast as well, which will be quite good, and maybe up to Edinburgh. And I think that will travel at about 200 miles an hour. So you can kind of get within sort of, I don't know how it'd kind of maybe be like an hour and a half to get from London to the northeast, which would be brilliant, to be honest, when that comes in. It'd be a lot easier for me for me, I'd probably already be here, but for Dan as well. Imagine that on a Saturday, Dan. Only an hour and a half journey home, when we get beat off like Rotherham, something like that, or Gillingham at home. We get beat like 2-1, and it's only an hour and a half journey home, but that'll be all right. So yeah, there we go. That's the end of the quiz. We'll have a little look at the podium. In third place, 15 out of 20, Ian Sun SAFC, who normally does very well on the quizzes. 15 out of 20 for Bonnie Knight, 16 out of 20 for. Who is Dan Neil? I'm guessing. Yeah. Who's Dan Neil? Which was Dan Humphrey. the whole time. Well, I'm guessing it was, wasn't it, Dan?
Yes.
Yes, there we go. And then fifth
What
place,
is it all about?
Johnny came fifth as well. Johnny, to be fair, it's a fair, pretty good effort from you though, to be honest.
Well,
The one off coming fifth. I hope that wasn't down to my tipping point question.
no, I actually got the tipping point question correct in the quiz because I knew that the star coin was 10 grand, so I just went with that. It was all the horrendously depressing questions about our terrible runs in the FA Cup that were tripping me up. Like,
yes, yeah, there were quite a few sort of trick ones there. I caught a few people out. But anyway, we've kind of run sort of 10 minutes over time anyway. And I did promise Johnny we would only be on here for about an hour. And I promised Dan that as well because he's very eager to get away and eat his dinner and watch his TV and enjoy his Friday evening. So I'll take this time to just thank everyone for watching. If you haven't already, give a thumbs up.
Clap for Johnny as well. What a debut!
Yeah, clap for Johnny as well.
Thanks, guys.
Well done. Yeah, give us a thumbs up if you haven't already. Subscribed because we are very close to 2,000 subscribers. So if we can hit that as soon as possible, that'd be brilliant. But yeah, no, I just want to say, Johnny, thank you very much for coming on. Have you enjoyed yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Pleasure was all mine, lads. Thanks for having us.
No worries, Johnny. You're welcome on anytime. And Dan, thank you very much. Although you are just a piece of the furniture, Dan, thank you very much for giving us your time.
Thank you, Matthew. Always a pleasure to see your lovely face.
Good. Brilliant. Thank you very much. So thanks everyone for watching. Enjoy your Friday evening. Hopefully we'll be through to round 2 tomorrow. But yes, everyone take care and away the lads.
Away the lads.
Away the lads.
Please subscribe. Free and does not cost a penny.